This is the 2024 Brewtubers Online Brewers Club Beer Experiment, Fruited American Wheat. Thanks to our sponsors. 5 Star Chemicals. Check out the interactive cleaning guides and learn more about their newest product, Liquid PBW, on their official website, www.5starchemicals.com. Beer and Wine Hobby Homebrew Supply Store. Beer and Wine has one of the biggest yeast selections around and boasts an extensive list of homebrew beer kits to make clones of some of your favorite beers. Check them out at www.beer-wine.com and tell them Brewtubers sent you in the order comment box. Let's get sipping.
Hello YouTube, this is Kurt from Fermentation Adventures, and if you're noticing that my voice is not matching up with the video, that's because Dum Dum in the video recorded the video like an old man shouting at a cloud with the microphone turned off, so I didn't capture any of the audio. So I am recording this the next day and trying to recollect my thoughts and feelings about the beer in the video. The beer in the video is from Wrecked Brewing, from our buddy Matt. It's called King Ludwig's Experimental Mad Beer Mark II, I guess, MK2, Strawberry College Sweater Iteration American Wheat. Very long name, Matt. Yes, prepare to be wrecked. Yeah, I was kind of wrecked by that name. But anyway, to get down to brass tacks and to be serious about it, the video here, this is the Brewtubers Fruit Experiment. We all brewed the same recipe, which I will probably put into an overlay right now, the recipe card. I will link to the recipe that we have out on the Brewtubers Instagram as well in the description, so you can review. But everyone brewed this same recipe, and we've all added strawberry flavoring, fruit, whatever, in a different way, right? Matt's example here, Matt has used the 1 pound, has used 1 pound of the strawberry bonbon candy. If you're of my generation or most generations, they're still available now. You can recognize them. They're the little wrapped red candies that kind of look like a strawberry. They are the, you know, that classic grandma candy is how I would remember them. So Matt added that at, it's a late boil edition. So the interesting thing about this approach, it does add a not insignificant amount of additional sugars to the beer. So Matt's ABV and original gravity was higher than most of the other beers. Matt's original gravity was 1063, and which finished at 1006 for an ABV of 7.5. So it is somewhat of a, maybe you can call it an imperial American wheat because of that, but it does have a pretty significant amount of alcohol for the style. The interesting thing, and I'll probably can mention it here, when I look at what the actual candy brings to the table, there, you know, it is artificially flavored with strawberry. You know, if I can look at the ingredients, anyone else can look it up. You know, it's primarily sugar and corn syrup. And then the third ingredient on here is apple puree and citric acid. And then artificial flavoring. So I'm assuming the strawberry note is some artificial flavoring on top of the apple and the acidity to give it that strawberry flavor. If you had these candies before, you're pretty familiar with the candy itself. It is strawberry, you know, strawberry-like. Doesn't taste exactly like a natural strawberry, which is par for the course for any sort of candy. All right, so in Matt's case, his beer, we went over the ABV. His was brewed on May 29th, right in the ballpark with a lot of us. Everyone brewed it in May. It was kegged on 6/16, canned on 7/15. So again, it's been in the can for about 3 months. So let me pause and jump ahead to the actual pour and aroma. Okay, here I am here. You know, I popped the can. The can was good and taut, plenty of carbonation. As you can see from the head as it's coming up the glass here, you know, there was a good hiss when can was open. I definitely remember that. The one interesting thing, probably in comparison to the Exit 12 beer that I did taste at the same time, the Matt's beer, I did not get any sort of clove aroma from it, let's say. There was, no phenolics. I did get a bit from the Exit 12 beer, and I think I got some from Gam Dude's beer as well. Don't take my word for it. But anyway, as you see, pouring the beer is fairly clear. Again, as I kind of mentioned before, between the can date and actually when I was doing the tasting, it was approximately 3 months, and it's been in the fridge, and there's plenty of time for the yeast to settle out. I will wrap around, and at the end I'll kind of do a quick second tasting with the dregs, the yeast that has settled out in the can, to try to do a contrast and compare. So when I tasted this beer, memory serves, as I said, I didn't get any clove character, spicy character from the yeast. I did get that noticeable strawberry note from the candy. It's definitely recognizable as the candy if you've had it before. You would definitely be familiar with that. And I was getting a sort of a non-strawberry, fruity, what I was thinking of as an ester from the hops, I would think, or from the yeast maybe, or so I was getting this additional other character that I really couldn't place. Looking at the ingredients for the candy, seeing that there's a decent amount of apple puree added in here. Maybe thinking back, I don't know, I'd really like to have looked at that previously and then tasted it. Maybe some of that character is coming from, the citric acid and the puree that was added in with the strawberry character. But I mean, other than that, it was very nice. It was a very nice wheat beer base. He's getting a tiny bit of doughiness from the aroma. But yeah, I would wrap up the aroma and say that was mostly it. The aroma was primarily the strawberry bit with some other kind of. So the flavor I was really getting, it reminded me of like a juicy fruit gum on top of the doughiness. So let's jump ahead to actually tasting the beer. So now coming back to actually tasting the beer here. Again, it was I was getting more of a repetition of what I was smelling, what the aroma was in the flavor. Again, even more so than just smelling it, tasting it. The strawberry character came through from the candy. It tasted very much like the candy. It was that same artificial. Again, it's an artificial strawberry flavor. It's still artificial. It tastes different than the real puree strawberry, that puree or whole strawberries that have been used in some of the other samples that I've tasted. But yeah, it's there, and it gives it a nice, interesting strawberry effect. If you're trying to go for like a true fruited strawberry beer, I mean, I wouldn't say it's a fruited strawberry. If you were trying to go from, and I've had beers like this, that had watermelon Jolly Ranchers in them. Some of that fun, if you're trying to really invoke that candy, I mean, you add it and it comes right through, especially with this base beer. Again, I was getting a little, if I recall correctly, some more of the, kind of the, what I was putting down to the ester fruitiness potentially. I think mostly that's what I was pinning it on. There's just another generic fruitiness that was in the mix as well. That was, not obviously not the strawberry. So that was there as well. Some more of the wheat doughiness was coming through. Kind of more of a bigger difference that I was getting with Matt's beer compared to most of the others was really coming from the alcohol and the dryness, right? So there is quite a bit of alcohol in this in comparison. If you compare it with some of the other beers that are like 5.5 to 7.5, that 2% of alcohol, that's really like a 50% increase on some of the other beers of the amount of alcohol is in there. So I found, this one was the driest one I tried so far, which again aligns with the gravity. It was a pretty drying experience, which is not bad. It was really nice, inviting another sip. It made the beer really drinkable, especially for its strength. And, you know, I was in the finish being able to taste the ethanol a little bit. But again, it wasn't hot, it wasn't overwhelming, it wasn't fusely, it didn't have any of those flaws. It really tasted like a nice, clean wheat beer, albeit a little bit stronger. So yeah, I think that's the keys to the flavors that I was getting from the beer. Again, oh, and I wouldn't, initially it didn't really seem as like a really creamy beer. You know, again, that's kind of a contribution typically from wheat. Wheat makes beers have like a creamier, sort of somewhat, I wouldn't really say full mouthfeel, but it just makes it nice and soft and pillowy and those type of feelings. There was a little bit of that, but jumping ahead, when I really added in the additional yeast, that was really amplified a little bit. But overall, it was it's a great example of a beer. Again, typically a little bit high on the ABV for what I would go for as a summer sipper, which is, I think, what I would expect from this type of wheat beer. But it was a fine, say, quote unquote, imperial American wheat with the flavoring added. So let's jump ahead to adding in the yeast dregs, and I'll try to recall what the difference was when the yeast was roused and added back into the glass. Okay, here we are back, and you can see I'm here just about to rouse the yeast in the can and pour it back on top of the glass. If anyone, Matt, if you did not want that done with your beer, sorry. But again, consistently, every time I've tried this, there's been typically the fruit character has been really amplified a bit. Again, here it seemed like the fruit came back in, and again, partially it could be from just the beer and the glass warming up as well. I have found, typically the fruit aromas have coming out more as the glasses warm up. Matt's beer was out of the fridge for good at least a half hour before I reviewed it. So again, it wasn't ice cold, but again, even adding that bit back of the yeast rousing back into the glass, it really made the fruit pop a little more. But again, the biggest difference was really in the mouthfeel, interestingly enough, that I would find. It just made the whole thing just seem creamier, and it really just made it a much more enjoyable drink. The beer still finished dry, but the drying effect happened a bit later in the sip, and it was shorter than what it was previously when the yeast wasn't in there. And again, the other obvious impact here, you can see the beer went hazy, which is probably more in line of what it looked like when the beer was canned. So again, in my mind, that's the way to drink these beers. Make sure we rise that yeast up, add it back into the glass. Again, you can do that with if you're drinking an IPA too, a hazy IPA, non-hazy IPA that's probably been sitting in your fridge for a while. It's not a bad idea to do that as well. But again, here it's the way to go. So yeah, I will wrap it up here, and we can make fun of this guy who's yammering on and nobody is hearing what he's talking about. He has thoughts in his head that I'm trying to recall exactly, but he might as well have been just mouthing empty words, because nothing is being captured. So yeah, it's kind of embarrassing. This is the best I could do. I promise, as we move on to the next videos, I have a bunch more to do. I will not mess up the video recording. I just want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors, Beer and Wine Hobby and 5 Star Chemicals. Those guys are great. Brewtubers Club is great. These experiments are a lot of fun. If you're looking for more information on the club, jump over to www.brewtubers.com, or check out our Instagram at Brewtubers. Check out that account, and from there you can go through our link tree, see all of our socials, see a link to the Discord, and when you get into the Discord, you can join the lobby for free, and then we can start introducing you to the rest of the club. If you like beer and brewing, it is a great place to be. Great group of people, great group of guys and one lady. We have one lady brewer with us, and we happily welcome more. So with that, I will close it out. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, pray to the deities you like for me to remember to turn on my microphones next time. And thanks.